Good evening. Hello. So this is my fourth video. This is the Steward Training video number 3 in this first rough version of doing a training for the Zen Peacemaker Circles. And this video is going to be on meditation. And tonight's a very special night to talk about meditation because in the Islamic lunar calendar, today is the 12th of Rabi al-Awwal, the lunar month of Rabi al-Awwal, which is the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him. And the Zen Peacemaker tradition is a sister tradition to a school of meditation and spirituality within Islam called the Jirahi Sufi tradition from Istanbul. And I'm delighted to also be a member of this order. And this hat I left on so that you can see it is the ceremonial hat of the Jirahi order, which symbolizes the crown of light which you receive in paradise. And just now I've been doing some Sufi prayers from the Jirahi tradition for the Prophet's birthday. So I thought it'd be nice to stay in a little bit of a Sufi mode to bring this evening into the video. So we're going to talk about meditation and its place in the Zen Peacemaker Circle model. And you'll see I'm not sitting on a cushion. I'm not kind of like setting out on a nice black cushion with kind of like, I don't know, a black robe on or something. And this is because I don't do this anymore. I mean, a long time ago, I used to kind of be quite into sitting on the floor. I had a thing. I really enjoyed sitting on the floor, and it's very grounding to sit on the floor, and I definitely recommend it. But well, I'll take a step back and talk about meditation. So in the Zen Peacemakers, we've talked about these three tenets: not knowing, bearing witness, and loving action. And it's good to have tools or ways into these tenets, and particularly this space of not knowing. And within the Zen Peacemaker Circles, we would encourage everyone to have a practice of some way of approaching or exploring for yourself what this not knowing means in some form of meditation. I'm probably sounding a little bit vague starting off, but that's because in some ways there's not a lot to say, and in some ways there are so many different directions we could go in talking about this. So I don't know. I mean, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, was always wrapped in his cloak. You know, before his receiving of the revelation of Islam, he used to go and meditate in a cave up in the mountains. No one really knows what he was doing there, but that's where eventually he received his first vision of the angel Gabriel. And then throughout all of his life, he was known for having a cloak. He would wrap himself up. When everyone else had gone to sleep, he would sit up late into the night, wrapped in his cloak, deep in meditation, deep in who knows what, deep in maybe what we would consider Zen meditation. I don't know. And I like cloaks. I like wrapping myself in cloth when I meditate. And there is our life, there is our world, there is this present moment, and there is the awareness which is meeting the present moment. Like the present moment right now, I'm sat here talking to you, and just over by the door to the study, our half Staffy, half Bull Mastiff dog has just been opening the door and going out. So the moment contains many things, and the moment contains everything that's going outside right now, and whatever sounds there are, the whole world, and this moment is contained within the whole of the reality that is the world. I wish we could be present while we're doing this so that we're all together in the same time and the same space. But somehow, despite the the apparent separation between me making this video and whoever and wherever and whenever you are watching this, there is a kind of unification or unity. There's something that we touch in meditation which goes deeper than the dividedness we experience on the surface most of the time. Rumi, the great Sufi poet, says, wherever you are, be the soul of that place. And maybe that's a good way into what meditation is. Now, in a Zen Peacemaker Circle, it's good to have maybe like 30 minutes meditation at the start or in the middle or at the end. It's always good to have a period of silent meditation. But there's no need for everyone to do the same silent meditation. So if you've got someone coming from, say, a Theravada, a Vipassana kind of background in Buddhism, they might want to sit and do Theravada meditation. Or if you have someone coming from a Sufi background, they maybe want to sit and do the zikr, the remembrance of Allah. I think within the silent period of a Zen Peacemaker Circle meeting, we can accommodate all kinds of practice as long as they're harmonious. I think probably it needs it all to be a silent practice. If you want to do something more than silence, then that's something to negotiate between you all. But as a basis for shared practice, I think a period of silence in which people do whatever they want to do is a start. So that would be a rough idea for a Zen Peacemaker Circle. Have a period of silence of maybe 30 minutes, maybe longer, or the beginning or the middle or the end, and that provides a link into the space of not knowing, a link into the space of something, you could say mysterious, but I don't want to sound too kind of mystical and kind of like spacey about that. I mean, something grounded, something about the earth of who we are and what we are and what we all share, and which somehow we're sharing now, even though outwardly speaking we're in a different time zone, we're in a different space, and yet somehow still there is a communication going on. There is a kind of like, there is a fabric of existence, and we can sit with that. So, having said all that about anyone can do whatever they want to do, it's good for you also to have Zen meditation, Zazen, as a shared tool which you can all practice, or just one or two of you can practice, or it's just there in the background. And maybe for some of you it becomes your main spiritual practice. You go away every day and do 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes of Zazen. And maybe for others it's just a practice you touch base with each other with. It's a kind of a linking practice. And I'll give an introduction to Zazen now. And this type of Zazen we do is called Shikantaza in Japanese, which means just sitting. And it comes from the Soto school, and it comes to us down from, from many people, but specifically down from Bernie Glassman, from Maizumi Roshi, his teacher from Japan. Now, it's probably best just to introduce the practice if you don't already know it. So, be present. Find a comfortable position and just sit. If you like, you can let your hands touch lightly like this, like one hand underneath, thumbs lightly touching. But you don't have to. You could just sit with your hands like that, or on your knees. Just find a comfortable position. I like this just because I'm used to it now. And we just sit. And traditionally you gaze slightly forwards and slightly down with your eyes lightly open. But it's also fine to close your eyes And this is our dog. This is Haley. Hello, Haley. Sit down, Hales. And when you when you when you sit, you just sit. You're not trying to do anything. So you're just sitting and being present with the moment. And if it helps, you can use your body as an anchor for that. So as you're sitting, have a sense, I'm sitting with a body. Here I am. This is and you sit. And as your mind wanders naturally, which it will do, when you notice you wandered, just come back to being present again. It's not a mindfulness practice, so we're not trying to be present. We're not trying to become aware of anything particularly going on in our body or anything particularly going on around us. It's simply being here. Be here now. And you could see it in terms of when you're first practicing, if you think of a sky and the clouds passing through a sky, then when you're first practicing, there's a sense of sitting, and you try not to get too carried away with thinking. You don't get lost in thoughts. When you do, you come back to just being present. And you could say at that point, it's like thinking, I'm the sky, not the clouds. And when you get lost in the clouds, come back to being the sky. And then when you've been practicing for a while, the distractions are not usually so strong, particularly the distractions of your own thoughts. So then perhaps you can be like the sky, and the sky isn't distracted by the clouds. The clouds don't stop the sky being the sky. And in the same way, when you're sitting in meditation, the thoughts that arise don't really pull you away from the state of being present anymore. And then finally, the real practice of Shikantaza, which is kind of what Bernie Glassman's talking about with bearing witness, is that the sky and the clouds, the space of the sky and the clouds in the sky are all sky. And in the same way, when you sit in meditation, you don't need to divide yourself from yourself. That there isn't. You start to genuinely experience that there isn't a kind of a me who's experiencing thoughts, the me that's experiencing emotions, a me that's experiencing the sound of the traffic going on outside. There is just a, if you like, a field of experience, and me, clouds, noises, thoughts, they all arise together. And we don't need to be so complicated to say there's a me that's watching all this. The sky is the sky, the clouds are the sky. There's a wholeness to our experience, and in a kind of straightforward way, we can experience this through sitting meditation. So I'm going to sit for just 3 or 4 minutes, just to kind of like be present with you in the state of meditation, so you can practice it if you need to. So find a comfortable position and sit in a chair or sit on the floor, and rest your hands. You're relaxed but upright, with your eyes lightly looking downwards or lightly closed, whichever you prefer. And then just be present. Dogen, who was the founder of the Soto school in Japan, said that to practice Buddhism is to study or to investigate yourself. And when you investigate yourself, you forget the idea of yourself, and you become, as he put it, awakened by everything in the universe. So you could say the practice of Shikantaza, or just sitting, is the practice of forgetting yourself and awakening to the whole universe. You'll see I'm sitting on a chair, and I'm just kind of like sitting in a relaxed kind of way. And this is perfectly okay, particularly in a Zen Peacemaker Circle approach, which is quite relaxed and open anyway. But even more generally in kind of Zen, there are different approaches to meditation in terms of the way you should sit and the way that the forms. And just to tell you a little bit about my own background, although nobody ever taught me in Zen that I had to sit in a particular kind of way, because I was taught in an open kind of way, I really used to love sitting on the ground and being very grounded and sitting on a nice cushion. And I'm lucky I can sit in like lotus position. So like in lotus position, upright on a cushion, in kind of like a very kind of rooted, with the center of gravity, a sense of rootedness, and also in Sufism, in the Sufi practice that I've done, I often sat kind of kneeling on the floor with my Sufi teacher in Edinburgh, David Belak from the Mevlevi order, and he would be chanting the Sufi chants, like La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, and this lovely feeling of being on the ground and doing a chant really meant something to me. And then I used to go to Holland. I used to visit a brilliant Sufi teacher called Kabir Helminski in Holland, and in his retreats, people generally just sat on chairs, and something always used to niggle me. It used to feel like, why aren't we sitting on the floor? The floor is like real. The floor is grounded. There's no reason why we're not sitting on the floor. It's like it's like something in me, like almost felt there was something missing in the way Kabir was doing it. Like he was making some kind of compromise for the these kind of like newcomers, these new Westerners who were doing it. But and of course I was wrong. And then I found this for myself when we were in Leicester and we had a, a regular group in the Zen Peacemakers. We hired a beautiful Unitarian church hall, and there wasn't really anywhere to sit on the floor, and we didn't really have the cushions, but there were some very nice chairs. So we just sat on the chairs in a big circle, and we had some nice coloured kind of scarves we wore to make it kind of a beautiful space. And of course, it made no difference whatsoever. Just to sit on chairs, not even cross-legged, but just kind of ordinarily with your hands on your lap or on your knees or whatever, was just the same. And doing that practice week after week, month after month, year after year, I kind of came to drop all of the preconceptions and the prejudices and all the kind of like the little things I'd picked up over the years about correctness. The reality is this practice is about investigating yourself, going beyond yourself, and just being present. The other thing that really helped with this was practice outdoors, and particularly my experience of going to the Zen Peacemakers retreat in Auschwitz-Birkenau, the Bearing Witness retreat, and every morning in the Birkenau retreat, we sit in a big circle at the selection site. I don't know if you've seen pictures of Auschwitz, but in Birkenau you have the kind of like quite a famous entranceway with a kind of like a square gateway in the middle and the train tracks running through. And there was a point where the train tracks kind of stopped and the prisoners were taken out and selected either to go directly to the gas chambers or to be sent to be worked to death. And we would sit each morning at the selection site in a big circle, and meditate for a while. And while we're sitting in silence, some of us are continually reciting out loud from the endless lists of the names of the people who lost their lives there. And when I went to this retreat, on the first day I tried to sit in my usual kind of like rooted meditation kind of way, and I suddenly felt just how proud I was, how much, without realizing it, my whole kind of like meditation posture and state of mind in meditation was an embodiment of a certain kind of pride of doing things right and doing real meditation and being like, being a, I don't know, being a Buddhist or something. I don't know. And I was overwhelmed. I couldn't do it. So I found I couldn't sit in this kind of formal upright position in this kind of like very Zen kind of way. And instead, I found I had to kind of bow my head down. It wasn't that I was trying to have a sense of humility. It was just I literally couldn't sit upright. I was overwhelmed by it. And every day during those periods for an hour or two, the only practice I could do was kind of traditional Buddhist loving kindness meditation. So I was kind of like down in this posture, feeling overwhelmed, kind of feeling, may all beings be happy, may all beings be happy, may all beings be happy. And in the last day or two, I think just the last day, in the afternoons we kind of wandered the grounds and reflected ourselves every afternoon. And just in the last day, I started to be able to sit for periods on my own in the grounds in a meditation posture again. But I couldn't sit anymore in this kind of really, really strong way. I ended up sitting in a way that feels much simpler in a way, just being. And maybe it's not anymore about having correct posture or the way you sit or anything like that. It's just it's to be part of the earth and the life of humanity and living creatures and the weight of that, the weight that there's been so much suffering and so much loss throughout human history. At the same time, we're alive. So really, since visiting Auschwitz-Birkenau in, I think that was 2010, I find I just sit in a much more simple way and just like, if you like, it's more of a sketch of, instead of like if the traditional way of sitting in Zen would be like a full drawing, then my own posture now is more a kind of sketch. But in the Zen Peacemakers particularly, and in the circle approach, this is all fine. There's no right way to do it. As long as you feel relaxed and you're able to be present and as Rumi says, to be the soul of the place you are, then that's enough, and you don't need to complicate things further. So I think that's probably enough. I mean, there's so much more I could say about meditation, and we could talk in so many ways, but the practice is so simple. Just be present. Just sit in a way that feels present, and if you need to, you could even lie down. And be present. And when your mind wanders, become present again. And when your mind wanders, become present again. And this is it. This is the whole of practice in the meditation tradition of Soto Zen, coming from China, and it's a very beautiful practice. I mean, today we're talking about the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, and the practice that everyone knows from Islam is seeing the kind of the ritual prayer of the standing, the bowing, and the prostrating, and in many ways Zazen has the same kind of feeling as the kind of the physicality and the rhythm and the the presence of the ritual prayer in Islam. So there's something very kind of like humble and something very simple and human about both of them. So this is the practice, and it's yours now. Like talking about the council circle last time. Once you start working with the practice, it becomes your own. It's particularly in a circle because you're working together and you can talk to each other and listen to each other, and your practice will kind of like spark each other off and motivate each other and kind of create an atmosphere. But the practice is wholly yours. There's no great Zen master. You know, if the ghost of Bernie Glassman came back now and spoke to you and told you all the secrets of the universe, the practice of Zazen, the practice of Shikantaza, remains this, just sitting and being present. I mean, this practice is yours, and you are yours. There's nobody is living your life except you. And you know, the Buddha said to become lamps unto ourselves, and that's in some ways what this practice is, becoming a lamp unto ourselves. So that's the practice of Shikantaza and an introduction to silent meditation in the Zen Peacemaker Circles. With it being the birthday of the Prophet, maybe I should finish by singing a celebration of the Prophet Muhammad. So here's one for you. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin Nabi Ummi wa ala Ali wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin Nabi Ummi wa ala Ali wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin Nabi Ummi wa ala Ali wa sahbihi wa sallim. Thank you very much, and good night, everyone.